absentee ballots, early voting and voting in person, but especially mail-in ballots. There's a couple states right now, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, to name a few, that are contentious, that have an alarming number of African-American votes that are being rejected, right? Almost twice the time as other races, right? So this is really going on right now. And a big part of that is people not understanding exactly what to do with the envelope. Witness signatures are necessary in North Carolina in order to process a ballot. Signatures have to match pretty much exactly, or ballots can all be thrown out, essentially. There's something in North Carolina going on right now called pending cure, and pending cure means you could possibly fix that ballot. Now, a measure just was passed, I think on Wednesday, that essentially said that the ballots that maybe had non-matched signatures could pend cure, but anything with a witness signature that didn't line up, basically the ballot will be thrown out and you would have to revote and you would have to wait for a decision. So some of these decisions might not even come until the day before the election, a couple of days before the election. This is just plain all in out voter suppression and confusing, because if you resubmit a vote, there's always the danger that you voted twice, which is a felony. And the president has been pushing the idea that, voting twice is voter fraud is something that's really happening right now, when we know that it's not. Voter fraud is extremely rare. But this kind of all started, I'd say, a couple of months ago, end of August. You could see that there was just pandemonium and confusion about the mailing system. The Postmaster General, DeJoy, kind of defunded a lot of aspects of the post office. And so there were pictures going around. This is one from, I believe, Southern California, that's saying that these are locking mailboxes, right? This mailbox actually has been locked for years. It's not locked in the front, it's only locked from this side. And that was because there was legitimate mail phishing happening at this location, right? But there's a video of this, and on the other side, you can see that this mailbox wasn't locked, right? I'm sure that you saw during this time period pictures of mailboxes looking like they were being picked up and thrown away, or in junkyards. All of this sort of information started to proliferate around the same time. Very anxiety inducing, very confusing to the voter, right? To the right, we have like a how to vote by mail thing. Now, the problem with things like this is voting by mail differs per state. Everyone has different rules per state. So while I believe that this is more misinformation rather than disinformation, this is still can depress or suppress the vote, because this information here does not apply to all states, but it did get a severe amount of traction on Twitter, thousands of reshares. So just like Cameron was saying, we have the official RNC who had the fake Dropboxes in California, who also, even though they've have refused to take these Dropboxes down. So like Cameron said, like it will cause a lot of confusion. But here's another element of confusion: posting an official ballot Dropbox as the lead for your reporting, right? This should not be the picture that's the lead, right? Because this now confuses people. Now you have in your mind, oh my goodness, this is an official ballot box. If you look at one, you might say, oh, this is the picture I saw with the article that basically said that, unofficial ballot boxes are around California. So this isn't something that one should do. Should either use false labeling over top of it, choose a picture of the actual fake Dropbox. There's other things you could do, because now these real images of Dropboxes start to proliferate across Twitter and across social media, confusing voters, causing voter suppression. And, some reporters believe, this is actually a time-lapse video of the long lines in North Carolina. And the quote says, "I've lost count of the amount of voters who told me they wanted to vote in person because they were nervous about mail-in voting," right? So if you're reading these things, you're a Black American, and you're seeing that 2/3 of your votes are being rejected, and confusion about what's going on and confusion about how to submit, then you're risking your health. Long lines are happening. Long lines are more likely in Black communities in the first place. I think you're 7 times more likely to wait in the line that's over an hour, I believe. So these are all forms of voter suppression and depression that we look out for at First Draft. And so this is something that we found earlier in the week. And the quote says, "A beautiful mosaic of Kamala Harris made out of all the Black men she locked up and kept in prison past their release date for jail labor. Never forget." So the record of Kamala Harris is used often because of her time as a prosecutor, some of the contentious decisions she may have made. Also running with Joe Biden, things with the crime bill. So really like the grain of truth within kind of their past gets over amplified and misinformation. This, you can see here that there's some images, they've been repeated. This is not, these images have not been identified. It's about six that just continue to be repeated in this mosaic, but this image got unbelievable shares, as you can see to the bottom right, over 14,000 shares, right? Um, on that day, between the 8th and 9th, over 150 pages were sharing this mosaic. It was cross-post on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, every platform you could imagine, extremely popular, but gives the idea that somehow Kamala Harris might be in support of putting Black men in jail, locking Black men away, which is a clear disinformation tactic.